Wait, what movie did we just watch?
Yeah, no, Avengers Endgame was pretty cool, guys. I'm glad we decided to watch that together.
What movie did we just watch?
Anyway, jokes aside, welcome to the Defenders of Sodor after party. I love Trains together. I'm one of the writers, the guy who filmed most of it, edited it all. My nightmares cease to exist. Anyway, here today, we're just going to be talking about the movie, the process and stuff. And with me, we have guests. We have, first of all, the co-writer, star as Thomas, Max and Monty for that one scene. I'm, for some reason, drawing a blank Stanley. A bunch of them. EpicLafiteau.
My name's Jeff.
Who is currently surviving COVID-19? So
Yeah,
how's that going, James?
I'm bored.
On, it's so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And next we have the Rob Rackstraw of the series, voice of like 90% of everyone in the movie, Mr. Mainland Studios.
I'm just happy to be here.
And then
That's my
wife. And then we have our amazing villain, Mr. Theodore Osborne, Chase.
Hi, what's good?
And the man who has done the musics for the credits, we have Christian.
What's up? I think I'm in the right spot, right? Like, this is the right place I'm supposed to be, I think. This seems right.
I hope so.
It's an honor to be here. What's up, gentlemen?
If it's not, we're gonna have a problem.
What you gonna do about it? Get that Jersey energy up. What's up, bro? You wanna fight?
I'll kill ya.
So basically, this stream is just going to be talking about all the stuff that went into making the movie and such, and we'll discuss like James and I's original script, which is far different than what ended up happening.
Very different.
Very short too.
Hold your questions till the end. We've got a Q&A coming up after we talk about it.
Yeah, that too. And
just because I don't want, like, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions. I just don't want them to get lost in the chat because we have some things to talk about first, and then we'll jump into the questions.
And so yeah, I guess we'll begin with I don't know.
Let's just talk about the original script.
Yeah.
It's very different. The first script has 16 pages, and the new one, the final one, has 80. So, I think we changed a little bit.
I think I would have been more impressed if I was given a script for a feature film that was 16 pages long. I would have been like, is this a Thomas and Friends art house movie? All right, I'm in for it.
Well, I think what was so bad about the original one was that we were leaning too much on just making it more funny than it should have been.
Yeah, it was too many jokes, too many references. It couldn't really hold itself together.
I mean, at one point during what in the final movie now is the confrontation at Tidmouth, I mean, Osborn literally quotes Thanos and is like, I'll snap my fingers and half the railway will cease to exist. And we're like, that's dumb. Why did we do that?
There would have been a collective groan in the whole audience. Imagine if this was in a theater, everyone would just go, oh, why?
Yeah, the 1.3K people watching drops to 200.
Yeah.
That was actually really cool to see, like, the number of people that were watching the movie just steadily increasing the entire time it was playing through.
I don't think I've ever been in a
100 by the end.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a Thomas Trains stream where it hits over 1,000 views.
People were hyped for this, dude, man. Like, people have been waiting.
Yeah.
How long have you been planning on doing this film? So I know the first draft was 16 pages, but like, how far back does that date?
We started writing it around the time JBS came out, right?
It was like right after, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like, all right, that was a great movie, let's start writing. But it was like, it had just happened. And I think that was part of the reason why the Steelworks engines ended up playing a decent
Yeah.
big role in
film
it.
in the end.
Yeah, it
But of
was.
course, it also comes down to the fact that they weren't really utilized in the show, so we wanted to do something with them. But also,
Yeah, but the way
it
that you
was
guys utilized them was actually really, really smart. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, Journey Beyond Sodor came out, let's just put these characters in it. Like, they kind of organically weaved into the
Right,
story.
yeah.
That's what
That
I was
was-
really impressed about.
yeah, they were in it because JBS just came out, but we actually ended up doing like a whole big like scene with them because of how natural it felt.
Hmm.
It was a good idea, I'm glad that it did happen. It came out right after because we were able to put them in.
Yeah.
And then the way you guys built it too, like, it wasn't, when they did show up at the end, I'll be honest, I got goosebumps because I was like, oh wow, they played into it so well, it was so cool. And then Frankie, I forgot who commented and said this, but it was on Twitter when Frankie basically bitch slapped Diesel Tank
Yeah.
into the river. I was cracking up. I was like, oh, that's great. Oh
It
man.
was so brutal. I loved it.
Yeah, one of the things that I just forgot and just now remembered was even before the original script, James. You remember we were going to make Theodore Osborne, or just the Osborne, it was going to be a completely separate character and be just a replacement controller for a while, and then turned out to be evil or something. But I remember thinking that idea didn't work, and thought, you know, we have the manager in prison. We should do something with this. So
If I'm being completely honest, I don't remember a lot of the original script. I can tell you that.
yeah,
much.
I'm just
It's
glancing
on.
through it.
Yeah,
I
there
know
are-
that
I haven't looked back at it.
When did I know I saw a draft around like what early 2019?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first draft.
Oh wow.
Oh
Yeah, it's-
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chase. It says even in the Google Doc I'm looking at right now, last edit was made July 1st, 2018 by you. So yeah, it had been a while.
There is something I'm curious about, because I didn't know this until I watched the film, but Nathan, you and Mainland co-directed the movie together. So how did that kind of come about? I know like Mainland did a couple of scenes here and there, but like when did it kind of become obvious that like, oh yeah, Mainland's a co-director on this? Like, this is a big deal.
It was basically came down to that he's filmed so many like extra scenes for it that, I mean, yeah, it was just.
I think where it all started was a couple of years ago. I can't remember when the it's something that happens a lot on a lot of Thomas Discord servers that you do Super Bowl bets. So like not on actual money, but like one year, me and Nathan was like, okay, if my team loses, I'll film an episode for you. And that started off as a new job for Rosie, which that scene is still in the final thing. And from there, me and Nathan just kind of like, I was actually kind of able to replicate your style of filming quite well. So it advanced to, hey Cameron, do you think you could film this crash scene for Henry the Private Engine? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And then that was very similar again as well. So he said, oh, with your chase scenes, do you think
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
And then Nathan came back to me. He's like, "Do you think you could film like one or two scenes for Defenders of Sodor?" So the first scene was Henry's derailment with George. I don't know if anyone was able to notice, but that set was kind of based on that one location from, I think, was Stuck on You. Was it, Nathan? It's that one long stretch of track with like the wall that Thomas and Butch go along.
Yeah, the one where they're going along with when the magnet's attached to Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, magnets.
Yeah. So when filming that, I was like, "Oh, what do you need for?" He's like, "Oh, well, it's somewhere near Croven's Gate." And I was like, "On the Sodor map, this set is near Croven's Gate Steamworks." And he was like, "Oh, that's brilliant." So I built that set and I filmed it. And then the next scene I filmed was the first chase with Thomas, Percy, and the other Diesels. And again,
really quickly, we'll just point this out, because I did say it in the chat, but I don't know how many people saw it. Those Diesels, we did give them names, we just didn't say them. The green one, his name is Drew. The red one is Daryl. And the white one is actually based on a friend of ours, Super Mario Kai 100. He has
Edward in the movie.
Yeah, he plays Edward, and he voices Damien, who is the White Diesel. So
oddly enough, I think, bless you, I think it works that you don't know their names. Like it plays off as a creepier element when they're just after them, because you know that they're part of Diesel 10's crew, but you look at it and you're like, wait, who the hell are you? From the get-go. Like, and it works in its favor. It's basically what I'm just. And
Thomas, Percy, and Merlin felt this extra sort of like, we don't even know these people and they're after us. Yeah. Let alone our enemies are after us. They've now got these random people we've never seen before who are also chasing us down.
For me, that's what that scene in particular is kind of when I was watching it is when it shifts from something that's trying to emulate a Thomas special to, oh, this is a movie. Like, this becomes an actual feature at this point. Like, forgetting anything before it, but still trying to be its own unique thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one thing I did want to point out was a couple comments during the movie. The roller rink scene wasn't a reference to the Magic Road parody, but both the Magic Road parody and the roller rink scene were both inspired by the original Magic Road script.
Yeah.
And also, this was written in 2017, so we hadn't seen the Magic Road parody at the time that came out this year.
Yeah.
I remember reading that. Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna scroll through the original script, that the roller rink scene ended up being part of the rewrite. So,
how many rewrites did you go through?
I think we did two. Yeah.
There was the first one, and then there was like Chase revised it, and then we wrote the final one.
Yeah, we thought it would be better if we just completely rewrote it, but we took a lot of the elements from the original script. Like the whole shed scene at the beginning is exactly how it was. The engines being, or Diesel, Aerie, and Bert telling everyone about the Thomas blowing up Vickerstown, that was in the original. The only change from that was originally Gilbert was Wendell.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning of the movie had, like, in the original version, the beginning of the movie was like just, it kind of felt a little like too long and boring. It was basically just setting up the whole movie. I liked that in the actual final movie we had like, we were introduced to multiple plots right away, and it just goes right into the story. The original one just spent way too long trying to set up what Thomas was doing, what James, Emily, and Gordon were doing. It didn't really flow too well. It spent way too long setting up. It didn't really go into the conflict till like the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that's a lot of like what the revisions were after the first time. Is just like making stuff fit together.
Yeah. A lot of what I noticed from the get-go while watching it was like it was really well paced. Like things didn't feel out of place. Like things really felt streamlined, and I'm guessing that was a real attribute to the fact of how you guys just streamlined the script in the
right.
Like the originally, I don't even think it's in the original script anymore. But I know at one point, oh yeah, it is. Okay. There was the Tidmouth scene got slowed down a bit because there was a slight argument between James and Gordon about Gordon racing Spencer all the time. So
oh yeah, I remember that.
So it did get really slowed down. So taking out a lot of that was better.
We wanted to obviously, this was supposed to be a culmination of the first three seasons and Little Western Rescue altogether. So we obviously had to tie in events and reference past episodes, like Henry and the Steamroller, George's motivation for making Henry crash, and the end credit scene, why Diesel found George and whatnot. We had to throw in references, but the original script, it was just like filled with unnecessary references and jokes that only older fans would get. So, like, James, I want you to take the goods train. Oh, I don't like taking goods trains. I like going to see passengers. Gordon, you're taking the express. Oh, like usual. It was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was just all these, like, random jokes that it was like, okay, we get it.
We've heard these before, you know.
You can only do it so many times before people get annoyed.
I mean,
You
there
don't need to tell
were
them what they know already.
yeah, there like James says there were other references too, like that were just way too obvious. Like not obvious, just thrown in there.
For no
Like,
reason. It didn't contribute anything to the story, really.
Like after Henry's derailment in the original script, it says that like Henry asks what happened, and then his driver says the rails have been damaged, and then Henry asks, "Oh, I better not have been Donald and Douglas again," and then just referencing who caused it, and it really didn't need to be there because it really didn't make sense. It's like, oh, okay, that's a reference.
Like it doesn't push the story forward.
Yeah,
it doesn't have a purpose.
Yeah, it was a one-liner that didn't affect the story. It was a callback to an episode that half the people in the chat probably didn't even watch, and then it wasn't even brought up again until like an hour and a half later into the movie. So
although there is one whole character that got dropped, and he does make an appearance in the scene as like a slight reference to it, and I thank Cameron for putting him in there. Bulgy was originally going to take Diesel's role in the George and Henry crash scene. But in the actual movie, you see him go by in the background, and you would think like, oh, maybe he should tell somebody. Mostly he doesn't care, I would say. Like he sees this going on, he just doesn't care.
He's like, good.
There definitely is like a version of this movie where we could have made him work, but there wasn't enough prior history with the character within the series for anything actually compelling to be done with him.
I mean,
save him for the sequel. He'll come in and be like, "I'm ready to do something," and then we never talk about him again.
And they're like, "Oh, you missed that. That was last week."
I mean, the whole thing with Bulgy was it was going to end up being him wanting to get revenge on Duck and Oliver, but it's like I didn't really address that in the series besides like a throwaway reference in an episode.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, Bulgy really doesn't have that much motivation in this series, so he's probably just doing whatever. But
the script was the script was finalized before Free the Roads came out, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's like no one knew how to write Bulgy before that episode came out.
Like Nathan was saying,
not Michael White.
Like Nia and Rebecca both made cameos in this, but when we wrote it, they didn't even exist yet.
Yeah, that's one of the other
things. Things were thrown in. Like this was written 3 years ago. It was filmed earlier last year, and it was finished like 2 days ago. It took this long to make this big of a project all come together.
Well, that's actually one of the. That's actually one of the other things, though, is that since certain things have happened in the actual series since then, we have had to go back and change something. Yeah. Like, in the scene where Percy finally meets Merlin, originally he's like, oh, so this is this Merlin guy? Because Seeing is Believing hadn't come out yet, and we didn't know anything about it. But once it came out, we're like, well, shit.
Oh, Percy met Merlin already.
Percy's going to have met Merlin, and so we had to rewrite it enough so that it was like, oh, so you're the invisible engine?
Yeah, it wasn't a problem, but it's funny how much has changed since then. In 3 years, actual things in the Thomas show changed the affection of this production as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Cameron.
Hi.
You're being a bit quiet here, so let's get you something.
Talk, Cameron. Be social.
Nah, it's just I wasn't really involved with the writing process. I was kind of more pre-production.
Yeah, I think that's about it we have for the writing. It's pretty much summarized with we had to rewrite it a couple times to make it work.
Yeah,
I'm glad looking back on it, I'm really glad we did. It came out fantastic, and I think I wouldn't have liked it if we kept the original script. And honestly, you probably wouldn't have even liked it. You probably wouldn't like it either. It was a good call.
No, because I remember when because I've known Nathan for the past 5 years or so. And I only started getting heavily involved with the series kind of near the beginning of season 3 when he started using more of my models. So at first, I might have been in Little Western Rescue, but I honestly don't remember being in that movie.
Yeah,
at all.
I don't either.
That.
Because when Nathan sent the script out, he was like, "Okay, Cam, you're D199." I was like, "Wait, am I?" I was like, "Yeah, you played him in Little Western Rescue." It's like, "I did? What?" But no, I remember when he was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a movie called Defenders of Sodor," and I was like, "Nathan, that sounds so dumb." But then I'm thankful that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna help a friend out, and I got more involved with it, and I was like, this is actually a brilliant idea.
Yeah, let's segue into voice acting for this next part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aha, here we go.
I do want to quickly jump back because I can't remember if it was before or while we were doing it, but someone mentioned that a lot of things was changed even in like the final moments of rendering and all that.
Yes.
I remember when I was filming the first chase scene with Thomas, Percy, and the other Diesels.
Yes.
That we were like, because I filmed, I think the original scene was like 2 minutes long, and Nathan was like, "Can you add a little bit more? It kind of seems really underwhelming." I was like, "Well, what else can I add?" And he was like, "What if they ran past an engine?" And I was like, "What if they're on the same track as Samson and Bradford has a go at them for rules and regulations?"
Yeah, things were added to the script while editing was like being done.
Oh, so you guys, it's kind of like how Pixar like will write and make the movie like almost weeks before it comes out. So
yeah,
because
I was actually curious about that. I was curious if it was like, oh, you wrote the script, filmed it, edited, then put it out. It kind of sounds like it was a mixture of like, okay, we got to add this little thing here, let's change that.
Because while
I don't think anything major was changed, but there was definitely like minor continuity stuff.
Yeah. So definitely,
it just make it flow better.
Definitely filming my scenes. There was always while filming, I was like, what if we threw this in and what if we took this out? So one of the first ones was the Samson scene, and I was like, I voice Samson, so I could do the lines right now. And then me and Nathan just spammed James immediately, and we were like, we need one Bradford line from you. And that was probably one of the favorite scenes that I was able to contribute to because
I was probably sleeping.
As I said, I didn't add much to the writing process, but I was still happy I was able to throw in a couple of little scenes as well.
Yeah.
And the second thing I added was when I was filming the final chase scene, was because I was trying to sync it up with the Lost Treasure music, and I was like, it gets really quiet, so it doesn't really feel like it should be a intense chase scene. And then Nathan was like, oh, you can throw in like someone passing. Like that, you can have them pass another engine. I was like, what if we put Zach in it?
Wait, no, before Zach.
Yeah.
Remember, it was gonna be Suit Kobayas.
Oh yeah.
And we were gonna have him waiting for his train at Wellsworth or something, and they pass by, and he turns around and he says, "Oh, have I missed my train?" or something.
You guys should have hit me. You guys should have hit me up. We could have done an Anderson Harbor cross. So
yes. But while filming it, I was like, Nathan, what does the Scarlet Railway do while this is all happening? He was like, nothing. They're just carrying on what they're doing. So I was like, what if Zach's just pulling into the station and he sees them fly by?
Yeah.
It's like you always have these big things happening on the standard gauge railway, like all the specials and such. And barring Blue Mountain Mystery, you never see what's going on in the other railways. So it's like, while the Magic Railroad chase was going on, what were Scarlo and Rheneas doing? I don't know.
In order.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, it's nice to see the perspective from someone who has absolutely no idea what's going on.
They actually play an integral part of the plot.
Yeah.
Just never saw
Zach seeing Diesel 10 for the first time.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like something I've always wanted to try and do for the Coldy Fell, is since they've made them canon in the series itself, it would be just hilarious thinking what they think about what goes on. Like, just imagine, I don't know, Coldy and Lord Harry. Coldy and Lord Harry sitting at the platform or something. It's like, did you hear?
They're like Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets. They're like these youngins and their ridiculousness. Like look at that asshole with the giant claw on his.
Just Coldy and Lord Harry sitting there like. So did you hear about that flying car? What? Or something like that.
That's
like going up the mountain. The flying car passes by, and Cody's like, "They're at it again."
He's like, "Oh God, something else."
Yo, someone write this down. That's a whole spin-off series right there. Just other inner railway perspectives of mad events that go down on this island that are just ludicrous.
Yeah, fun fact, before Theodore Osborne, the original villain of the film was Ruth.
You know,
she's still not the man behind the man. Ruth is responsible for all of this.
The Theodore Osborne,
jokes aside, that's a good idea.
Theodore Osborne's face opens and is Ruth in like a bodysuit.
It's like Scooby-Doo.
Oh god.
No, one of the ideas I threw out the other day while I was editing was thinking about all the after credit scenes, and one at after the hell, I'm forgetting my own episode titles. One for the Toad where they're at the scrapyard. I mentioned to Cameron, I was like, that's the same scrapyard. Like, obviously it's the same trains route that I had to use, but it's like, that's the same scrapyard that Gilbert was rescued from. What if Gilbert knew all of this was going to happen and didn't say anything?
Yeah. And then we said, like, our reasoning was, it was like, oh, Gilbert, did you hear about what Diesel 10 do? It's like, yeah, I've known for ages. Why didn't you tell anyone? Well, no one asked me.
No one asked.
I didn't think it'd be a concern.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had to say anything. It's not my job.
And then Gilbert's like, wait, who are you guys?
Really quickly, I do want to go back to the things that were added and removed and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's the biggest thing that comes to mind when thinking about that was the scene of Oliver and Edward getting kidnapped at Bridlington.
Yeah.
That scene was intense in the movie. It played out really, really well.
The thing was originally that wasn't in there, and it was Oliver and Edward would go off and be gone the rest of the movie, and then when Bear's getting bullied, they're like, they found Edward and Oliver, and it's like, well, did they just drop off the face of the earth? Like, so I thought it would be good to have a scene to explain that, and then it occurred to me, maybe that can link into the ending where everyone is coming to help. So that's how Ginty sees it, and Ginty's the one that spreads the news. So
if you couldn't tell, Sir Topham was in Edward's cab, and Edward got biffed, and then Sir Topham got thrown against the controls and knocked out.
I should not laugh at this, but I have to give a huge thanks to Jerome, or the German of Sodor, for sending me the sound effect from the Great Race of the signalman falling over, and I added it. And you don't see it. It's just you hear the thud, and it's hilarious to me.
It was kind of funny because it was a really loud thud. So I was like, wait, how big is that man?
Yeah.
First off, how big is that dude? Second, how did it even make that sound? 3, how hard did the diesel shove it? Like, it was a lot of questions that just resulted from that one sound.
Here, in the script, it says, suddenly Oliver is biffed from behind. He jolts forward, ramming into Edward's tender. The Fat Controller in Edward's cab is thrown forward hard and is knocked out.
I'm sorry, but I would have loved to have seen a shot of the Fat Controller getting knocked out.
Just imagine seeing him hit, like, Edward's regulator or something. His hat flies off.
Well,
the X's are in the eyes.
He's literally concussed.
Maybe that might be something I might be able to animate in the near future.
Oh my god! Instead of birds flying around, it would be little Harold the helicopters.
It's like the little yellow birds flying around Sir Topham head, and then it zooms out and you see the bird watcher. That's a sort of warbler.
No, wait, just for James, instead of the little birds, it's little Phillips.
Oh god.
Say, like Philip.
But so moving on from the writing, I guess we'll bring more involvement for Cameron in. Cameron was the one that edited 90% of the music. I did throw a couple more things in, but so I would say what went into choosing some of the music choices.
Cameron's godly when it comes to music choices because he really helps me out. I am just like, on one hand, I don't want to do it, but I'm really bad at picking out music for scenes.
Yeah, we both are.
Cameron has hooked both of us up with some of our episodes.
It's my pleasure, gang. Because again, a lot of all my involvement with the movie has been evolved from working on James and Nathan's series. It all started way back when I think it might have been. I know it was definitely a season 3 episode. It might have been. I think it was Gilbert, Two Left Buffers. It all started out with the engines doing the jobs on the island. And Nathan posted the video in the chat. I was like, can I get music suggestions? I have no idea what to do. And within 10 minutes, I'd like slapped links to videos. And I was like, okay, start this at 3 minutes, end it at 3:50. And I did that for every single piece. And then it got to the point where Nathan was like, if I send you the video, can you just add it yourself? And I was like, yeah, sure. So since then, it started from there, and I've done it for pretty much every episode since.
So co-director and music supervisor.
Yeah. Because I went out of my way to purchase seasons 17 through 21 on DVD, and I ripped each episode. So now I've got a whole library of CGI music. So instead of sending them massive folders for them to sift through, they just send it my way, and I just...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mainland Studios music helper outer.
Yeah.
What I am really gutted though is when first working on it, I was like, oh, I've got there's so many pieces of music from different films I want to use, but they'll all get copyrighted. So what we first started off with, I did the music as I would like them to be, sent it to Nathan. He was like, okay, these got copyright, so you need to take them out. I saw on Twitter, I think it was The Kipper Runs Again, he put the Postman Pat movie music over the Journey Beyond Sodor intro. I was like, that would fit perfectly. So I threw that in for that scene and the scene where all the engines arrive at Barrow, and it worked perfectly. And I'm so gutted that I wasn't able to keep it in. So I might post that on Twitter as like a deleted scene or whatever. But,
Please do.
But no, like, the music was beautiful. I intensely loved it. It got me so hyped for the movie, but I still think that the Journey Beyond Sodor soundtrack still worked very well for it.
Yeah.
It worked,
Totally.
but it would have been a lot better if the Postman Pat thing didn't get copyrighted.
Was there a scene in particular where you were like, "Oh, this music's perfect. This is so good," and then just for whatever reason you just couldn't use it?
Definitely the opening. Because
just the opening,
yeah. Because it starts off nice and slow. It brings up, and as the camera pans up, it starts brings in all the trumpets, all the music, and everything. And then as it fades to the next scene, it starts to bring it down. And then when it's Thomas on Sodor, it comes like some nice little twinkly xylophones, and it's like everything is nice and calm on Sodor, but something's gonna go down.
And it oddly fit very well.
It really did
very well.
Like I love when editing music, it just happens to sync up perfectly. I don't know how, but it just did.
But other than that, every other piece of music seemed to fit in fine, and it didn't get copyrighted. There was a lot of music that was taken in, taken out, changed around. But so like another piece of music was the second chase when they go to Beresford's Canal. That was another piece of music that had to be taken out. So in the end, it was just the dynamite chase, just replayed twice. It still worked.
That's what that music was?
Yeah, that was the dynamite chase.
Oh, okay.
It still worked, but it just sounded very awkward that you could tell it was the same music just played twice.
I know you put it in as a joke while we were editing it, but honest to God, the portals from Endgame theme works so well.
I still got uploaded that on Twitter. Yeah, when Nathan sent me the music render, because he did it in parts. I think there was 12 overall. Whenever he finished like a substantial chunk, one of the renders, I think it was either 10 or 11. It was the scene where they all arrive at Barrow, and Nathan was like, "Can you just please put the portal music from Endgame to just see what it's like?" And honestly, God, if that didn't get copyrighted, I would have kept that in. That was so hilarious.
Yeah,
I just
we were able to use music from Home Alone and the Polar Express, but we couldn't use like any Marvel music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Marvel's like back out of here with that.
That's Disney. Like the video wouldn't get taken down. We'd get copyright striked as well. Well, everything else would just be like, okay, you can't be monetized.
Think of how much worse it would be if Thomas was owned by Disney.
Oh God,
Jesus.
we couldn't even get out of business.
Personally, I think they would respect the legacy aspect of it, but every single piece of music would be so copywritten. It would be kind of scary. So,
well, it's sad even now you can't make music videos with the songs that are out there, or else they'll.
Yeah.
You can. It's just like the prospect of getting copyright blocked is really crappy for a lot of people.
No, because one thing to note is if it's on Spotify, you can't use it, which is why a lot of the soundtrack stuff from the movies and episodes are okay, but it's like the songs and the instrumentals of those songs can't be used.
Yeah, the actual songs like "Wake Up" and "Engine Roll Call" and "You're the Leader," all of those are copyrighted now. They made.
That's why I was happy to do the. That's why I was really happy to do the song for y'all. I loved doing that.
That was beautiful, man. You know, literally.
Great work.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is so cool. But when you sent the final version, I actually burst into tears.
Yeah, I just was about to move on to that. So, Christian, why don't you tell us about the song?
So there's a little bit of a story. So when you asked me, I was so on board because... Well, for one, doing it for Mainland's film a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I love doing it for specialty projects like this. And then when you sent me the rough cut, I was like, oh, this is awesome. But it only had like a few minutes. The Beresford scenes, I hadn't recorded my lines yet. So I had a whole bunch of time to do the song, but my laptop died in the middle of making an earlier version that you hadn't heard. No one had heard. And I mourned for like 2 weeks, and then finally I was like, all right, batten up the hatches, let's freaking do this. So what you hear in the movie is the second version. The first one is long lost. So and I got just a short fun fact because it's in the credits. Geeb Machine actually helped me write it. He's helped me written a couple of songs before as far as Thomas music is concerned. And then my friend Matt Claremont also helped with some lyrics. So it was just a really fun thing to do. And the version that you hear in the movie isn't actually the full version. There's a whole second verse and actually like my attempt at some sort of engine, Thomas, You're the Leader rap. So if you go on my YouTube channel, you can actually hear the full version. And there's also a music video coming out, which is going to be, from what I saw, is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that. So,
I'm working on my version of the full, because originally I was going to be doing the music video that was going to end up being during the credits, and some personal things came up last week, and I wasn't able to do it. So Cameron stepped in and did the music video that's actually in the movie, and so I'm going to be using the one that I did, or started on at least. I'm gonna make that the full thing. So
also, I want to publicly apologize to you, Nathan. When we were trying to figure out how to use the music in the ending, I really was So for some context, I was trying to give Nathan a version of the song that would build towards when the post-credit scene happened. It wouldn't have faded the momentum of the mid-credit scene happening. So I was like, you should try it this way. And we went back and forth trying to figure it out. And then Nathan knocked it out of the park with what he was able to do.
Yeah, because I was really confused by the way that you were trying to say it. And then I realized, oh, crap, Cameron's thing has the fade in it. I can't do it that way. So then Cameron sent me the original file that I ended up putting in. So, speaking of the music video, Cameron, do you want to talk a little bit about the music video?
So when Nathan told me about the problems he was running into, I was like, if it helps, I can film that end credit scene for you if you want. So then we decided I'd do the credits and he'd do the official music video. And I said to him, I was like, oh yeah, I don't have any of the old models anymore. They're all PBR. And he was like, oh, what if you still use the PBR ones, but as a sneak peek for season 4? I was like, if you're doing that, I'm gonna go all out. So, if you saw, I made a lot of new models for this movie. I made a Beresford, there's Rocky, Marion, there's Mavis hiding in the end credits, and they've got, new animations on them. So before, the old Dirty Train Rocky was just static. And then my old Marion that's been around since 2016, 2017 was static as well. So I've gone all out and I did the little animations to use in the end credits. But yeah, I used Carson's Patreon flying cam for it, which really helped with some of the panning scenes. And I showed Nathan a couple of the test clips, and there's some models I've been working on that I haven't sent out to James and Nathan yet. So when I filmed the scene where it says if we ride on different rails, I used Thomas and Luke, and he said I was going to use that, but I didn't want to ask for Luke.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, great minds think alike. But
because I'll just say this, because in my version that I've done, I didn't like, that is exactly what I pictured was Thomas and Luke running next to each other. But then I'm like, I don't want to. I bothered Cameron for all this stuff for the whole movie. I don't want to do that. So in my version, it's Duck and the Arsdale engines. So you see them.
She killed Diesel 10.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for like trivia and stuff.
Hey, Cameron, full Discord.
Yeah, I just realised I'm screen sharing Discord. I thought it'd be stuck on the screen. No, I'm trying to pull up the list of all my contributions to the movie. Because I know I've got it saved somewhere, and I was checking one of my chats.
Oh, this dude got a list! Alright, let's go.
No, I always keep a list from my portfolio website, so when someone says, oh, what work have you done? I'm just like, oh, I've been a producer, co-director, editor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then
I made Frankie, Emily, and Flora.
Yeah,
and I placed like 6 characters in the movie, and I wrote it and co-produced it or whatever.
That's the thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, Cam, you made such a good Frank. You made such a good Emily." It's like that was all James. The most I did was make a face and put it in game.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, so
more power to you though. Anyone who builds those models and puts them in trains, it's like I watched one of your videos to even try and figure it out, just to like at least respect the process, and my brain just no, absolutely not. So
I'm really like, it was really awesome to see something I made not only make it in the game, not only be used in a movie, but something I made killed the main villain. My model bitch shot Queen off the Victorstown Bridge. That's awesome.
What's it? So in the credits when it says, "Oh, Cameron was producer, editor, model, and rigging," for Defenders of Sodor, I made Beresford, the 2 diesels, Drew and Damien. I filmed Henry's crash, the first chase and the last chase, while doing the filming, editing the lines, music, and sound effects. I did the special effects for the CCTV footage, so when the vent van went down the rails and it crashed, and I did the effects on that. If you want to talk about the little Easter egg we hid there, Nathan.
Oh, there's a bunch of little like
in that news scene. Oh my god, that was one of the funniest gags. Listen, Farmer McCool. When I spotted that, because whenever I watch a movie, I always look at stuff like that. I can't help it.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was on the floor, and then I was like, okay. So, am I really going to ask Mainland and Nathan if I can do a Farmer McCool album?
Yes!
Like an EP or a mixtape?
Oh my god, yes!
Oh my god.
Yo! We rounded up your shoots tonight, Trevor! What's up?
What's up, in the slices with my 68 sheep and my 68 pimps?
in the first teaser that I did for the movie, well, not the very first, but
one of them, you know.
Yeah, one of the 47. It was the one I did back in August. It was Philip and Bucky and the workmen listening to the radio. And I have to say, first of all, thank you, Simple, for doing the radio thing. That was awesome. And he did it perfectly too. They end Never Overlook a Little Engine on the radio, and they do the news about the Vickerstown thing, and then Farmer McCool's single "Hay Bale Baby" comes on, and just just because I thought, they're gonna immediately like a real radio station, they would immediately start playing the song. So I used the theme from Big World where Nia and Thomas are in Arizona. So you just begin to hear the
oh man. Next time if you ever need like a hip hop remix of something, just send it my way. I'll make like a real quick beat and then we'll drop that as Farmer McCool.
I'm not a huge fan of country myself, but I would buy Farmer McCool's album.
Yeah.
It'd be the Old
Town Road. Yeah.
Oh man.
The two little reference Easter egg things I want to point out is in the CCTV footage, the date the accident happened was the 20th of July, 1955, I think. And the exact time the crash happened was at 3:23 in the morning. The date was a reference to mine and Chase's birthday, which is the 20th of July. And then the time in the morning was 3:23, which was a reference to Nathan's birthday as well.
Yep. One of the other references, just the small ones that I would throw in there, is the running number on the. I know I mentioned this in the chat. Was like, if anybody could figure it out, they'll get a cookie. Well, the running number on the blown up vent van was 1206. Wait, no, it was 120206, and that was December 2nd, 2006, and that is the day I started my YouTube channel. So.
And I don't want to confirm anything right now. It was literally kind of thought of during the premiere. At the bottom of the screen during the scrolling credits, at the very end of them, it says Peter Sam is devastated about the missing station cat. It's a real weird coincidence that Peter Sam loses a cat, but Ryan finds a cat. Is it coincidence? We don't know. We'll have to wait.
Coincidence? I think not.
That little news scroll thing was one of my favorite things that I added.
That was funny.
And like I've been obsessed with the carrot thief story that they put on the newspapers in the series. So I anytime I do something newspaper related or news related, I have to put the carrot thief in there. Like
the sequel should be about.
Yeah. In this it was I believe it's like carrot thief still wanted when asked. Mayor of Sodor answers, "Why carrots?" or something like that. But I did a Gordon Goes Foreign remake like 4 or 5 years ago, and I did the newspaper, and it was Sodor carrot thief caught. Turns out to be Sir Robert Norrenby. When asked why he did it, he said, "I needed soup."
See, I could totally see him doing something like that too, but to add to the lunacy of him doing it, I could see him totally doing it in a rabbit costume.
Oh, definitely.
Just that's just him. That's just him.
It was you could definitely see him doing it, and it works because he came back to Sodor, and then all of a sudden this carrot thief has started appearing. So I think the other things in that newsreel were I know there was the residents of the Norrenby fishing village complain of groaning or whatever. Turns out to be Bulstrode the barge. And then there was a reference to Terrier 55 Stepney series, like during the news thing, and then also on the ticker, which was that they were still looking for John and Jerry. The Sodor police were looking for John and Jerry. But I think the biggest thing that I want to point out for that is that you can tell what in the TV series canon, at least when the movie's taking place, is because the very first thing after the breaking news on the ticker is Sir Robert Normie announces World of Tomorrow Technology Fair. So it's right before season 24 is where the series takes place now. So
there we go.
Yeah,
anything else anyone wants to bring up before we move on to questions?
I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of interaction from Chase, so I'm gonna ask real quick. How'd you feel with Osborn?
Like emotionally great. Like I felt like I did a job. Physically fucked up my throat, but it's fine.
Useless trains.
Really, in all honesty, I really enjoyed doing the role. I'm very thankful that you asked me to do it.
Yeah,
well, villains are the most fun to play, so I was
absolutely
jealous. I was like,
there's I don't know if we said this earlier, but there was in the scene at the end where Osborn's like crawling out of the river and he's coughing. That was not an acting cough. That was an actual real cough.
Yeah,
I had from straining myself doing Osborn's voice.
I remember I had to cut it really quickly too because I know you were coughing and you would go, oh fuck. I was so tempted to leave the fuck in, but
apologies.
R-rated Thomas movie from the get-go.
Legit. I was very thankful to get to do it. I really wanted to like make sure I wasn't just doing an impression of the guy who came before. So when I was reading the whole script, it took me a while to. I think when I sent the lines over, I was trying a bunch of different things, and I'm very happy with what we ended up going with. And I would love to play this role again if Osborn ever returns from being stuck inside Hero's train.
Yeah, we never know where he'll end up.
Let's use that and segue into the Q&A. But without... I saw a couple questions during the movie and during the stream. The main question everybody wants to know is, what's happening with him next? Or where do we go from here?
With Osborn specifically, or...
Sure.
Well, honestly, at the moment, nothing planned. He might turn up eventually.
I got a pitch for you guys, because I got a pitch for you guys. Osborn the musical. Let's do it.
James,
when you're
Little Western music video.
Yeah.
Remember the Little Western rescue thing? He's like, the fame and the fortune animal.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one question that I just saw that I was like, okay. So there was a scene in the Diesel Works with Boko, but a lot of people think that he didn't have eyes. He was closed, right?
Oh, yeah. That was a script originally. When Cameron did...
Boko lost his eyesight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boko is now Ray Charles. It's era appropriate.
But in some of the models that Cameron does, and I get on his ass a lot about it, he doesn't do sleeping faces for some characters. And so for the, I think, what was it? Was it the 4.2 model? Yeah, okay.
Oh, you got chat.
Oh, really?
Sorry to jump in.
Wait.
Shout out to Jarvis Parker.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Jarvis Parker. I lost my train of thought. Okay, the 4.2 models had the eye scripting where you could just change the directions and didn't have the controller eyes. And so one of the directions was eyes shut, and it was just basically the eye was the same color as the face. But on certain characters, it didn't necessarily work well. And it looks like their eyeballs fell out or something.
Like Boko and Dexter looks like they have no pupils, but it's just supposed to be eyes closed.
Yeah, it was supposed to be eyes closed, but
I thought this movie was just secretly a sequel to Little Blue Hell.
Well, it could be.
Hey Nathan, I have a question.
Yes.
Now that Defenders of Sodor is over, what are you gonna do next?
At the moment, the next thing planned is I'm currently working on a Christmas special. It's about Bill and Ben, so there's that. But then...
Personally, I would have said sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
Movie that he worked on for 3 years.
I wish, but the grind never stops. So,
on to the next.
Yeah, but
so
then
season 4 ahead of you.
Yes, season 4 is gonna be in January.
Season 4.
We're a bunch of Skarloey Railway stuff. Chase has got a couple episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Nathan.
Yeah.
The biggest question: how did you get Saberspark to voice?
Oh God. Okay, well I guess we'll answer this. Get this out of the way.
Well, it all started 6 years ago when I gave him $1.
Yeah, 4 years ago. No, so a lot of people might know that in 2014 I went to BronyCon, the pony convention, and it was back when I was really into the MLP stuff, and but while we were there, I basically vlogged the whole trip until my camera broke. But one of the people I met at BronyCon was Saberspark, and so talked for a little while. Didn't really get to know him that well. He just was like, "Oh my god, hey, that's that guy from the Bronies React stuff." It's like, cool. And then a few months later, when the Brony vlogs went around the internet, it just went everywhere. I don't know how or why, but I don't know. I got a lot of monetization from it, so I don't really care.
Listen, you say the word brony in anything, you're getting swamped with.
Yeah. But one of the people who ended up seeing it were the group from Bronies React, and Saber was one of them. And he at the time had a podcast, and they watched it on there. And I reached out to him. I was like, "Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed these." And he's like, "Yeah." And so we talked for a while, and then a year after BronyCon, we did a live stream, just to celebrate the fact that they were that and whatnot. And about an hour into it, I get a message saying on Skype from him saying, "Hey, me and a couple of friends would like to join. You wanna, if we can?" And I was like, I don't know. This could get raided. I don't know if this is actually him. And then they actually showed up, and it was like, holy crap and whatnot. But we basically
the rest of the stream going, "Oh my god, it's him!"
Yeah. But after that was around mid 2016 while I was working on Little Western Rescue, and that's the thing that a lot of people seem to be really surprised by is that I have Saber in this when he's been voicing Diesel 10 for 4 years. I asked him if he would like to, because I had the idea for the end credit scene in Little Western Rescue. Okay. And so I asked him, would you be up to voicing Diesel 10? He's like, "Oh, sure. Why not?" I guess it was at the time only one line. And then I continued to develop the idea for Defenders of Sodor, and then would start doing the after credit scenes with Diesel 10 and Splatter and Dodge and whatnot. And then it came down to, "Hey, do you want to keep voicing this character?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm totally down for it." And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so cool."
And also just to point out that it was 4 years ago or whatever. I'm pretty sure we didn't even have since 2016 or whatever. I'm sure the fandom members have doubled.
Yeah,
there are people who are just seeing you advertise Defenders of Sodor and they haven't even seen Little Western Rescue, or they didn't even know who you were 4 years ago, let alone Saber.
That's true.
And there's the whole My Little Pony fandom who see Saberspark in something wait, he's in a Thomas thing, and then Thomas people are like, wait, this is a pony person? It's it's a whole wide range of people.
Honestly, I've noticed that there, like, especially around the time when I posted "You Are the Number One," that there was a real big kind of resurgence, not only in the community itself, but just like a lot more people just randomly started popping into it, like people that I hadn't heard of, because like my lineage of like being a fan goes back way further than a lot of people know about. I used to have a YouTube channel way back in the day called Tugs the New Series. This was years ago, and I remember watching Diesel D199 when he was still using models, and he was doing a series, and I remember when Miss Oliver and Blossom was still there, because that was my last that was my last real part of it until You Are the Number One came out. And then when I was here, I was like, whoa, this blew up in a way that it's not like some underground cultish community anymore. And it was actually a really cool thing to see. Like, it was super funny too, because I was like, this is actually kind of low-key hilarious. Everyone's just admitting how much they actually really truly love this show. Mm-hmm. Everyone's proud of it now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Tugs the New
sums it up.
Right? It's crazy
when you series. That's how I first found Anderson Harbour.
Yeah, because if you watch that, you can see like a clear style evolution start to emerge in video works. And then I just was like, nah, I'm not going to do this channel anymore.
No,
and I stopped doing that.
I watched it when I was like really young, like when I was first getting into YouTube. I was like, this is really cool. I hope it goes somewhere. A few years later, completely forgot about it. Watched Anderson literally every year for Christmas since it came out. And then just while scrolling through Tug stuff, I was like, oh, I remember this. And then I was looking at it. I was like, wait a minute. This looks familiar.
The models in the background, like they were
like,
very...
The faces, that can't be a coincidence. That's got to be him.
Oh, yeah, it was totally. But it was just cool from that point to see how much things had changed.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially when I posted You Are the Number One, I did not expect that to do anything. I was just like, all right, here's this, enjoy, whatever. And then everyone was like, oh, my God. But then I realized, oh, man, this community is way bigger than I thought.
I remember I remember watching that when I was still in college. That's how old it was.
Oh, my God. Why'd you gotta make me feel old?
Again, that was like that was 2017. Like that is, you know, before you know, everyone kind of started reaching their peaks.
Oh man, I'm expecting Saberspark to do a review for this movie.
I really hope he does. That'd be the best thing ever if he did a review.
We'll judge him forever.
Listen, if the man can out himself as a furry, the man can review a Thomas movie.
James, there more questions?
I think James is currently out of action.
Why no Shrek Easter egg?
Let me flick through it.
There were no swamps available.
There's one that I see that's kind of recurring, which is like the process of putting the models in trains, but I feel like that's a little bit too complicated. It's just know that it's a very, very long and tedious process that would make most people's brains implode.
Looking at it with no experience, yes it would, but after a couple of years of experience, it's not that hard. It's just a very lengthy process.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Here's a good one, Nathan. How long did it take to make the movie from start to end?
Well, we started in 2017, like I've been saying, but filming specifically started in May, I believe. So, May, and then I filmed up until 2 weeks ago, I think, so.
Jeez.
So, from May to October was... And then I finished the whole thing last night, so.
What was the hardest scene to film?
Hardest scene to film? Probably...
Yeah.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, for me, it was probably the Henry crash. Just to make it look, look believable the way that George had flattened the rails, so it looked like he was actually flattening them instead of just going backwards and forwards. Especially with the Henry crash, I wanted to make sure it would be believable that if he hit that dent in the rail, how would he come off? Would there be a certain way he would tilt? But I still think it came out great. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. I would say probably the hardest scenes to film were the ones with a lot of engines in it. Because, I mean, you can tell in some shots at Tidmouth where, like, flying cam is lagging while filming. And, so it just mostly came down to it being difficult to film because it was laggy. So, I would say probably the Tidmouth scene at the end.
Is it just because, like, well, I don't know because I don't use trains, but is it because there's so many characters in one shot that it becomes so laggy? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, I just wanted to clarify something I saw in the comment to Farquhar engines. I know it's really probably not that tedious. I was just kind of joking around, but yeah, with stuff like that, I was really impressed with a lot of the camera work in this movie. I was sitting there and I was watching. I was like, damn, there's some really cool dynamic shots in here. Like a lot of really cool. I like how you guys added the little close-up shakes when you ever got close to the wheels, because not many people do that, and I feel like that's such a little underused technique that I don't see as often. Yeah, although I'm seeing it more and more now, and I love stuff like that.
I really like all the scenes that Cameron did with the new camera. So I don't have it myself, so I'm not sure how complicated it is to use. But I really like how a lot of those came out.
Yeah, absolutely, they look gorgeous.
I love especially like one of my favorite shots in the last chase is when Diesel gets knocked off the rails. Yeah. For one, it's really well shot. Like the way that you convey so much with so little works, but it's also hilarious for that scream that Diesel does. It still makes me laugh.
I hope I didn't miss any questions. I had to go get dinner.
No, that's all good. 2 questions about models and editing.
Leftover Thanksgiving food because I'm American.
Yeah.
Another question.
I'm still recovering.
Another question I constantly keep seeing that I'm sure you can answer very quickly. Why wasn't Lady in the movie?
Just simply didn't really need Lady.
You can't. I don't know. I feel like Lady you can't really do much with unless you have like the whole magical aspect.
Yeah, and I didn't really want that part of it really. Yeah. So
besides with magic, the only time I've ever really seen Lady used is in like I think Victor Tanzig's series.
I've had ideas for Lady with like my own stuff, but I feel like I'd have to open up like a whole can of worms and like I don't know if I'm ready to get into that yet.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because like she's a cool character and really well designed, but there's just so much baggage with it. Mm-hmm. With Diesel, thank God it's not at the point now with Diesel 10 where it's like, okay, he's in the series, we can explain that now. That's much easier.
Oh no, I feel like it would be really weird to have him just like casually working on Sodor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I just want to throw out real quick that Cameron is currently premiering a music video that is based off of the movie. Yeah. I just got the notification for it.
I'm pushing it back, but I didn't realize it was happening.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
but
I did a music video based on the Johnny Cash song "I Won't Back Down" because I felt like it really fit with kind of Bear's journey, and it would have been up sooner. But Nathan was like, "Oh, it has way too many spoilers." Like, okay, I'll leave it for after the movie.
Do you want to like switch the stream chat to like premiere your video?
It's nothing special. It's literally just reused footage.
I'll put it in the description.
You take that back, Mr. My videos aren't special. Every time you do one of the music videos for one of my songs, it's always like I'm always on the verge of tears because it's so damn good. So stop it with that.
Stop with this humility.
Exactly.
Are there any deleted scenes in this video?
No. It's all from the test renders that Nathan sent.
Yeah.
Oh, are there any deleted scenes in the movie?
Yes.
Like a ton, or just like little shots in here, alternate?
Yeah, there's there's a bunch of like alternate takes and angles of certain things, but I don't really think there's any huge like things taken directly out of the movie. I mean, there's stuff that never made it into the second cut, like there was originally in the original script. I mean, Dieselton and Osborn, when they first show up, were supposed to kill an engine, but
oh damn,
I thought that would be too edgy, so we took that out. But yeah, there's not really anything completely deleted, but James or Cameron, do you?
I love Samuel. He's fucking cool.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast of him and I instantly fell asleep. His voice is just that soothing.
I just know becoming the new narrator of the show.
I'm just flicking through the very beginnings of the chat, just so just in case we missed anything.
Oh, I see one from Natasha Thompson, which I actually think could be funny answers for everybody. So where do you think Osborn went after the movie?
Vietnam. He's been drafted.
Went to Target to buy the PS5.
No, I thought he said Thomas and Percy went to Target.
They all went to Target. It's Black
Friday.
Friday.
Osborn's Osborn seems more like a Xbox kind of guy. Not more PS5.
You want to go get?
I mean, if there's a good deal, he's gonna take a good deal.
True, very true.
Here, I'll give the official statement where Osborn's going to end up. Hero was taking his train to London, and he's going to escape, and we're gonna have Defenders of Sodor 2 escape from Africa.
No, escape.
And also just for that.
And he teams up with Kwaku and Kobe the Crane. And
what's Kobe gonna do?
Kobe,
the greatest villain cleanup of all time.
But when they realize that Kobe can't, come off the dock, it's just him and Kwaku. And so Kwaku returns to Sodor and has to decide whether to kill Nia or not.
And like Nathan said, this is before 24, so Hero is still on Sodor.
Yeah.
Here's a fun question for you, Nathan, that I'm sure you'll be able to answer. Why did you not put a Shrek Easter egg in the movie?
Oh yeah, I said there weren't enough swamps on Sodor.
Why is Donald and Douglas not in the movie, but they're in the ending?
Damn it. Okay.
I just think there wasn't really any scenes for them to be in, nor any scenes for them to be in the background.
Yeah, there's nothing they would have added. Yeah. We're also at Target getting the PS5 though.
Anyone that was in the story really just kind of served their purpose and just kind of did their thing.
I mean, I could have given them a line at Knapford, but
whatever.
It would have been fans. It would have been fan service.
Yeah.
Fan service.
Fan service.
What happened to the Diesels, Ari, Bert, and George?
Ari and Bert just kind of, are Ari and Bert.
They went back to
actually, after Ari and Bert went around telling all the other engines about Thomas, they went back to the scrapyard. Or the smelter's yard, sorry. And then Sydney showed up.
No!
And I do think that at that very moment, Sydney got roped into their plan to scrap some engines.
No, that's not real.
It's canon.
On the way back.
As far as I'm concerned, it's canon.
Yeah. On the way back from getting Osborn's engines, Ari had to speed up really fast, and so his engine started to have issues.
No.
And thus we have now made Sydney the scapegoat canon. As for George, he's going to be in season 4, so we'll just do that.
Yeah. What is
season 4?
Yeah, that's a lazy excuse.
Season 4 just opens with George still stuck in the turntable.
Yeah, everyone just returns at night. He's just sitting there.
Yeah.
No,
like
Nia is like Nia's been in the sheds the whole time. She's like, I can't leave. She's been here for a week.
Trapped?
Osborne's engines just went back to their railway, and I don't know what Splatter and Dodge did. I didn't really think about that. And the shunters, they got re-railed and just started working again. So.
I know what happened to Splatter and Dodge. They took themselves back to the Sony archives.
Yeah.
That's what they do after every project they're in. They just go back to Sony. So every time Mattel wants to use them, they just have to inquire. Oh man!
Of course.
How do you...
Any other...
talk about season 4 a bit?
Yes, please.
It's just stuff to discuss.
I mean, I haven't really, besides script-wise, I haven't really done much besides that test clip. But
some good scripts in this season.
Yeah, there are. It's all starting off with a episode called "Mistaken Identities," which is basically the Skarloey railway engines start getting confused for each other because they're all red, and so hijinks ensue. And Sir Handel decides to take that to his advantage. So.
It's the dude.
You said this season was more focused on the Skarloey Railway?
I decided to make this season, instead of 10, I decided to make it 15 episodes. So
it's like season 4 of the real series.
Yeah. It's which I actually got the idea from you, James, originally. But
originally, huh?
But then so there are 3 narrow gauge episodes in the first 5. And then Chase has done a Henry episode to keep the tradition of having the second episode be a Henry episode.
Yes.
Which is based on one of I think wasn't it the season 21 things?
Yeah, it's one of it's if you've read that, it's a story called Henry's Record about Henry trying to beat Gordon's speed record while taking the flying kipper. Very excited to get to see what Nathan's done with that. The test footage we've done for it is great. Yeah, overall, very excited to see that come out.
When you say test footage, do you mean like actual just trying to make sure some certain camera angles work, or like?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like a brief scene just to make sure camera angles
it was
work.
just to test everything out. But since I did that, Cameron updated the models, so I'm gonna refilm that.
I'm gonna refilm it.
Then
touches
after
with the traditional story structure a bit, which I'm quite proud of. Then after that's the scrapes and scratches, right?
Yeah, that's an episode that takes place after Blue Mountain Mystery when Rheneas is yellow, and it's kind of like the story of him being yellow and then going back to red and what happens. And then after that is a Dexter episode where, he gets restored, but he doesn't know what to do. And then the return of Thumper for a Rusty and Thumper episode. And then after that is Battle of the Buses.
Ooh.
Which is another really fun story that Chase has written.
Thank you. It's if y'all felt that Bulgy randomly popping up in season 21 didn't really get explained, that's gonna get explained because Battle of the Buses is a direct sequel to it.
Aha.
Yes. And I very excited to hear what everyone brings to their roles. Personally very excited to get to do Bulgy again. After that chance I got to do him in the Terrence short.
Mm-hmm.
And yes. And what's episode 7? We don't need to go all the way through, but it's just
there to round out the first 10, there's a Lola episode where she comes back to Sodor for a while. And then a normal engine, which is partially a slight reference, because this is why at the end of Defenders of Sodor you hear Merlin say, "You'll be seeing a lot more of us around here." So that the Steelworks engines will occasionally appear on Sodor.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So
too bad the show couldn't do that. The fans have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, legit.
I mean, honestly, it sucks, but we're in a really, really cool era now where, like, we're going to see some of the best fan-driven content.
Oh, yeah. The fan content will surpass the show, and I believe some of it already has.
Oh, this has already happened.
Yeah, with the current way the current show's going, I think the fan content will eventually just replace the official series at this point because, not to get into it, but what we've seen and heard so far, the fan content will stick true to what we all love, and everyone can agree that it's just going to flourish from here. And as bad as the show will get, it'll just encourage and motivate people to start making their own content and to keep making their content better and better than before.
As long as no one mentions train program, I'm happy.
Yeah. I'm going to take it
in college.
I will say, though, that's what I loved about Defenders, and that's what I love about your show too, Nathan, is that it takes cues from what makes the new show so great, but it still elevates them, and that's what I loved about the movie. Like, yeah, it feels like a Thomas movie, but it feels like a movie, and it was awesome to be a part of it, even in some small way. Because I will say, I've voiced Beresford 3 times before. This was the most fun I had voicing him. I don't even care if it was so brief. It was awesome. It was so dope. So
I'm going to take a question I saw earlier, and I'm going to kind of weave it into what we were just talking about. Someone asked, are there going to be episodes after the movie? And we kind of just went into that. But specifically, are there any episodes that take place after Defenders and Defenders impacts the way the story works?
Yes, there is. I was waiting until Defenders of Sodor came out to even list it on the wiki, but Cameron and I are currently writing Unbearable Memories. Keyword, unbearable memories. Basically, Bear has PTSD, and he needs help solving it. He's afraid to go back to Vickerstown.
Solving it?
Yeah. He needs... yeah.
I think...
we haven't really written it yet, so...
It's in the process.
Yeah.
It's in development.
Choice of words.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, it was a poor choice of words. I'm dumb. Anyway.
Sorry, I saw myself cutting out.
So, let's do maybe 1 or 2 more questions, you guys think?
Yeah, sure. Let's do a couple more questions and then we'll do the usual, like, oh, what are you guys working on kind of thing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Try to explain a little bit about, like, what happened to Diesel 10.
Okay, so basically...
It was very brief.
Yeah. Once he got pushed into the canal, his engine got wet and shut down. And since his engine, since it shut down, Pinchy shut down too. And it hit him extremely hard. And
the giant claw that just got slammed onto his face.
Yeah, exactly. So he got knocked out during the whole, congratulations, Thomas, yay. And then he completely forgot everything. Like, he forgot everything that happened in Defenders of Sodor. He forgot basically everything in general. So he's basically a mindless, like... He's not mindless. He knows what he's doing, but
the events of the movie he doesn't really know about.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he did. He's more so gone back to what he is like in CGI.
That's a really cool premise for a future episode of
It's a good way to, like, retcon it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the whole series started out with Diesel 10 being like this extremely evil, despicable character, like he was kind of close to Magic Railroad, and then around season 3, Nathan started going more into like CGI era stuff. Because I remember when the series started, it was like model series and railway series stuff thrown in. Wild Nor'Wester characters were making appearances, and now it's straight up like CGI stories. So it's kind of weaving its way towards getting right back on track to CGI. But obviously, a lot of the characters like Thomas, Percy, etc., they were already developed way before. So Thomas's like whole persona in like Thomas and Oliver, for example, isn't exactly the same as it is now, but it shows how the characters have evolved and grown throughout the series' run.
Yeah. So if Diesel 10 makes another appearance, he won't know anything about what happened during the movie. He'll be back to just kind of being not really a major villain.
He's like sly and like this despicable.
Like he'll be ready to steal your Christmas decorations, kind of thing.
He'll kind of fall into like a Diesel role.
Yeah, like you know how Diesel was like devious and despicable, and now he became like a prankster. Diesel 10 is almost like reverting to like pre-CGI Diesel-ish. So Diesel 10's now becoming the main antagonist. Diesel had his redemption, so they're kind of switching.
It'll be like he doesn't necessarily like steam engines, but he'll tolerate them because they, that would be my best answer to that.
Someone in the chat asked who voiced Thomas. Hi, that's me.
That would be James.
Yeah, I voiced
Thomas.
Hello. I also voiced Philip, the delectable cheeses.
Thomas, it's so good to see you again.
Yeah, the Thomas and Stanley scene, I was kind of talking to myself there.
Always a fun time.
That's what I do for Anderson Harbor, and it's always a trip because I'll swap the voices instantly. Mm-hmm. So when I'm ever recording with a friend, they're always like, "What the fuck?" They're always just there.
Yeah, I just recorded the lines for my next episode, and I voiced Stanley, Philip, and Charlie, and they all have main roles. So it was like 3 separate recordings, but they all sound different.
I love it.
I'm gonna go for maybe one more question, James.
Yeah. What made you decide for Bear to be like the undercover engine? Because it's very interesting.
What did we decide on that?
I think it was because Bear was like a neutral character where he's almost like Paxton, and like Paxton and Sydney are like a little too like they're a little dumb to be like involved in such a major plot. But Bear is like the kind of Diesel where he's like the segue between Sodor and the mainland, where he's kind of on both sides, where he's able to be trusted as like a Diesel with Osborn and Diesel 10 because we don't really know much about Bear, so he's able to like not trick them, but like get on their side, and then he just reports it right back to Thomas because we kind of have the idea that like Bear's been on Sodor, we haven't really explored it, but he's there, he knows all the engines, he's friends with them, and then he uses his like he's not really like so major, he kind of like slides into the other side, and then he's able to get information from them. They believe him, and then he goes back to Thomas. And then he, obviously that doesn't really work out in the end, because he gets beat up, but...
I mean, in the original script, which, for some reason, I guess we forgot that I ever included Bear in anything, we introduced Bear as he came to Sodor with the Osborn engines, and, but then he then revealed himself to be, oh yeah, I like you guys, don't worry, or something. But instead, we decided in the second draft to be like, let's explore, since I haven't really done much with Bear, let's explore a little bit about him, and what would happen if, the Diesels are feuding with the steam engines, and he likes both of them, so... Yeah,
and I think Bear is, like, a good neutral ground to work on, where he could work for either side, and you really don't know, because in the trailer, he definitely does look... It is definitely convincing that Bear's on the other side, and then once the actual movie comes out, you see, oh, that was his motive. He was working for both sides, and then he ended up helping out Thomas in the end. I do want to throw in one question, because I feel like this could pertain to all of us, and not just specifically me or Nathan. What was the hardest part for recording the movie, as in voice acting and singing and whatnot?
We'll go with the order. We'll just say James, Cameron, Chase, Christian.
Okay.
Totally.
I think probably the hardest part was just I think I did most of it in one take. So when I record lines, I like to do multiple takes so you have things to work with and stuff. And you try different pronunciations. So, for example, it'll be like, the cast and crew of Defenders of Sodor. The cast and crew of Defenders of Sodor. The cast and crew of Defenders of Sodor. So you try to do a different way so you have an option to pick with. But it was just, I think, what was it, like a half an hour recording of hi, I'm Tom. It was like way too long for me.
Well, the thing with you, when we did your Thomas line, I was in the call with you when you were recording.
That was definitely helpful because you were able to pinpoint, like, hey, slow that down, try that one again, do this one like this and whatnot, and I was able to work with you because when writing stories, you obviously have a feel of what the characters sound like in your head, and then you get back to the lines and it's a little different. But, of course, me being in the call with Nathan and stuff, I think we were in there for like maybe an hour or two, and I was just reading like an 80-page script doing Thomas's line. I think Thomas probably had probably the most lines in the whole movie, if not Diesel 10.
What I found funny was you had to go to dinner halfway through.
Yeah.
So the recording split up into two parts. One's a half an hour and the other one's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, hold on, the phone's ringing.
I'm sorry to jump in, but we've got a very special guest with us right now.
Hello, everybody.
Oh! It's the Topham Hat!
Topham Hat! No way!
Hey, how's it going? What a great movie.
Thank you.
Especially the part of the Fat Controller. He was amazing.
Oh, man.
Maybe you can answer this for us. What was the hardest part of recording your lines?
You, because you kept making me do them over and over again.
So as James said, I was helping you do different takes. Oh, speed this up, slow this down, and say it in different ways. Another good question is, what was your favourite part of the movie?
Oh, I don't know, because I liked loads of it. I like the parts of Diesel 10. Definitely love that bit. That just took me back to the days of the Magic Railroad and all that sort of thing, because I've not seen that for a long while.
Yeah.
No, I just love the interaction. I think it's just great. I just love the whole thing.
Yeah,
I gotta
you get knocked out inside Edward's cab.
I gotta say,
together, because you just do the voices, and then it all suddenly appears on screen.
Because when we're recording it, we've just got the script, and you're like, oh, he gets knocked out. But then when we see the final thing, you're like, oh, so that's how he gets knocked out.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. No,
Yeah.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
I want to do
Papa
more.
Mainland, you are my hands down favorite voice actor for Sir Topham Hat.
Oh,
like every time I hear truly, like every time I hear it, like that is exactly how I heard him like as a kid when I would read the books. So you're my favorite Sir Topham Hat. Show
incredible work. Incredible work. I suppose I can go now if Papa Mainland does not have anything else. What was personally tough for me is, as previously mentioned, the Osborne voice is tough on my throat. But I think the more tough thing was I didn't record any of my lines in my traditional space. So I was in my college apartment with like thin walls trying to like make these lines actually good quality when like police cars would drive by and like ruin the takes and whatnot. And having to do that for like, I wasn't quite to the extent that James did, where he was recording for like an hour. My recording, I think, was around 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was just getting all that done without outside factors interfering. Probably the most difficult part, but script motivated me to get through it.
And the screaming.
And the screaming, of course.
No, there have been many times where Nathan's just been in a call with me, like, editing the movie, and once in a while I'll just hear, come from his microphone. Like, it's like, oh, that's just Chase. It's like, what do you mean that's Chase?
That's just me having a mental breakdown on my line.
Because remember, at the beginning of the film, it's all like down here, very dark and edgy, and by the end of it, it's like faster. I was like, Jesus.
It's
bro code is your friend.
Escalating madness. It's just escalating madness.
Absolutely. I'd say conveying that is probably my favorite part of the whole thing. Is just like making sure there's an arc through the whole thing, even though when you're doing take after take after take.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good stuff.
Christian, did you have any trouble with the recording the song?
Oh no, I was gonna say recording Beresford was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. But I want to publicly apologize to you, Nathan, because I took forever to get those lines to you because just things kept happening in my life where it just I was like, come on, this is comical. So in the span of me trying to get you my lines, my computer died. I had COVID. I had almost lost my job, so it was just like, oh, come on. What's the worst that could happen? But voicing Beresford was easy, but recording the song, there was actually a point where I was like, Nathan, I'm struggling with singing this. Can Chase sing this, please?
I would have done it if you'd asked.
I want to collab with you on a song someday, but it was just so close to crunch time that I was like, I could power through this. So I think moving forward, you're going to see more songs where I'm not going to be singing as much anymore. I'm okay. I'm happy with my singing voice, but I'm very, very self-conscious about it.
God, your voice is beautiful, man. Honestly.
Yeah, you sound great, Christian.
No, I really appreciate that, and I loved making this song for you guys. I really tried going all out for this one.
Yeah, I will say after Adventure Continues, and especially this movie, and after me doing Evil Like Diesel, I do want to do more singing Thomas stuff, because original songs are still kind of new to Thomas Productions, and I feel like that's one of the most fun things about it, is when you can just sing and it really expands on the characters instead of having them just talking in in the station or whatever. For them to actually bust out into a whole musical is really funny, and it's really enjoyable to me.
Yeah,
I want to do a musical so badly.
I'd love to do a musical.
There's something it's in me. I at least want to do one. Because if I do at least one musical, I think it'll be. It'll be a good time.
Years ago, I actually started writing a Thomas musical, but I never. I'm using the continuity that I created for it for something else, but I'm not going to end up using it as the musical plot.
Well, if
fuck this with the continuity.
Well, if you ever need someone to make some songs, I got you.
Yes, we will talk. We will absolutely.
Wait for a Christian and Chase duet. Oh my god.
I got that special idea that I'll talk to you more about eventually.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
But so Cameron, what was your hardest thing?
For me, I breezed through recording. I think one of the most tricky voices for this film was probably. It's a mix between all the characters. Stafford's voice changes so much. So when I was doing it for A New Job for Rosie, it's like, oh, hello, I'm Stafford. And then after a while I went, oh, hello, I'm Stafford. So Stafford's voice is very wobbly. Kind of like Chase, doing Arian Bird's voices kills my throat half the time.
Oh yeah.
Because I have to be like, oh yeah. I go proper back of the throat. It's like, oh, it's me, Bert. It's so funny. And
it does sound like they smoke 3 packs of cigs a day.
Yeah. And the one thing that I hate James and Nathan for is getting me to be Samson and Theo, because shut up. So Samson, it's all at the back of my throat, so I have to kind of bash the what's it called? I don't want to say the wrong word. The dangly thing in the back of your throat.
Uvula.
The uvula.
That's it. Because I know there's another word for it that means the end of your ding dong. But when doing Theo and Samson's voices, it bashes my uvula because I've got nice chubby cheeks, so it compresses my mouth a lot. So doing that, if I record them for a very long amount of time, it starts to make me gag. So if you listen to the bloopers of Samson and Theo's recordings, I'll be saying a line, and it'll just be like, I'll be recording a line, and halfway through we're like, oh, hello. And the same happens for Theo. So,
oh my god.
So I still
James.
I need a whole video of just that.
Yeah, exactly.
If Nathan
James,
has the
we need
audio-
to like combine our
If
recordings
Nathan
of
and James
Cameron.
still have the audio, do it.
Wait, what are we talking about?
When I gag,
Cameron's gagging.
for when I do
Oh, yeah.
because for Defenders of Sodor, they only had like 2 or 3 lines. I breezed through it. The Abominable Samson, I came close to gagging, but it was just it was just the. But then recording Theo for 30 minutes straight for a Steelworks scare last year, I actually threw up at the end of the recordings. It was.
I remember because I was on the call with him while he was recording, and I just hear, oh,
and then Nathan's just like, Cameron, you okay? I'm on the other side of the room, just going like, Nathan, I threw up. That's
things I do for love.
That's how far I'll go to get a good recording.
The things you do for Samson.
Exactly.
I think when for Percy, it came down to just I hate doing Percy's voice for a long period of time. Like after doing Spirit of Shen Valley, which after a while really destroyed my voice. It just trying to talk in the whispery tone that he has, but also yelling was horrible.
Oh god! I remember
So
the days
like
of the early Percy voice.
Oh god, no. Okay, let me tell the story. So I did the adaptation of Thomas the Evil Diesel a few years ago, and but I made it as CGI, so I did like a reason why Percy was in the works, and that was because he couldn't pull the trucks, and then they started pushing him, and it was 3 a.m. I decided to record lines because I had nothing else better to do. And so I was trying to be quiet while also being a runaway. So all that came out was, stop!
Guys, stop!
I remember Nathan had sent like the video to me. He was like, "Oh, can you do music?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." And he sent that line. It was just like, "Stop! Oh no!" I was like, "Is this like a test render?" He was like, "No, it's the final thing." It was like, "Were you being strangled when you were recording Percy?" What the fuck is going on there?
Oh my god!
No, we all have our early voices. Like I hate. Okay, so young little baby Cameron started in Nathan's series round about the Jinx station, and I cannot watch that video just for the pure high pitched me going, "Ow, ow, 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 ow! You ran over my foot! It hurts! Ow!" And I can't watch
My leg's stuck. Ow!
Oh, it makes me cringe, and I hate it. And I can't watch Percy Plows the Field either. No, not that one. The what's that snow one with Percy and Wendell?
Oh,
That was literally like a mini version of Letters to Santa. But
I think it was Percy's Snowy Surprise or something.
Yeah, but then Wendell just goes past, like, "Oh, Wendell, can you get help?" And I'm like, "Oh, can do." I'm like, I hate my voice. I hate it so much.
All young wants.
My biggest problem was with Spirit of Shen Valley was, like I said, trying to do the whispery tone but yelling at the same time. So it always would end up making me cough or something. It'd be like, "Oh no!" kind of thing. And then for this, like 90% of Percy's lines are, "What do we do, Thomas? Oh, why are these diesels chasing us?" And it's and now here's me thinking about writing an entire Percy special. I think it might be time for me to retire as Percy.
No.
Take over as Percy for you.
I love Jesse's Percy voice, because whenever we're in a call, like, "Hey Nathan, do the Percy voice," and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, it's Mr. Mayor."
I think
God.
out of all of the Percy lines I've done for my series, I think the one in the Scruff short where the horse is going by, he just goes, "Oh, hello, Mr. Horse." It's my favorite.
Mr. Horse.
Nathan, I actually do have a quick question for you. For anyone who wants to watch some of the episodes that really directly impact the events of the movie, what are like 3 episodes especially that you think people should watch to really... I mean, you're not going to get everything you should watch the whole series, but if you had to pick 3 episodes that people could, like, watch and then watch this movie and be like, oh, okay.
My father died when I was 7, dude.
Yes, that's a really good movie.
I would say you should watch Escape, but that was filmed 7 years ago, so wait until I remaster it in January. Then I'd say Escape, Little Western Rescue.
Just watch the recap.
Yeah, just watch the recap. And then probably Who Caused It.
I was on the phone, but I heard you guys talking about Cameron throwing up our recording for Theo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the recording for Steelworks Scare. He was like, hello, Moo. Hello, Moo. Hold on. Okay. I think I go.
I think the 3 episodes you should watch it should definitely be Little Western Rescue, so you understand who Osborn and his engines are, who caused it for Diesel's little backstory bit thing, and the end credit scene from One for the Toad, because I'm not sure if it was clear enough or if Nathan pointed it out. During that end credit scene when Splodge are collecting those fuel vans from Barrow and then Ginty takes them away, Splodge makes that comment saying, "Oh, maybe the boss could special order it." That's why there were fuel tankers and gunpowder on Thomas's train, because it was a special order.
Actually, instead of Who Caused It, I'd say actually new job for Rosie.
Yeah, with the Rosie.
Because that explains... It kind of segues into why Rosie's at Vickerstown instead of Knapford. It explains why Diesel is at Vickerstown. It gives him his little mini redemption. It goes into why Duck comes in there and Diesel is like waiting for him, and how Rosie kind of was like, all right, go back to your train, Diesel. And it explains why when Thomas goes to the shed, Rosie was there, and she kind of segues into the whole, like, Ari and Bert were making fun of Thomas, and then she's like, go away, and then Thomas comes into Vickerstown with the mainline engines, and then she goes with them. I feel like that was way more important than Who Caused It.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
One of the things I really have to give Kirsty credit for Rosie, which she did a great job in the first place, but specifically the line where she basically tells all 3 of them to go away. She kind of had this, like, sadness in her voice, because it's like, shit, she's telling her new friend to fuck off.
Yeah.
And that's really gotta hurt.
Yeah, because they've built that relationship, and she's like, oh, Diesel's changed. Then she sees him being a dick. He's like, oh, come on, man, I thought you were better than this.
Yeah.
So then that's why I love that one little line where it's like, don't do it, Diesel. You can just tell from that scene, she's like, come on, I know you're better than this, man. You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Diesel had like a tiny little mini redemption in New Job for Rosie, and then it seemed like he just kind of reverted it and ignored it. But then I feel like once Rosie was there, he realized, oh, she's actually watching this. I don't want to lose my new friend. And he sort of had the realization, like, is this really what it's going to come down to? These guys aren't even my real friends. I don't want to ruin the new friend I just made who actually wants me to do right. And he kind of has this realization, like, what am I doing? These guys aren't going to help me. They changed the plan. They're not loyal. They're not honest.
Yeah. One of the other things that I'm just thinking more about the Diesel and Rosie relationship. Not that kind of relationship.
No shit.
But the friendship of them is he's happy. That's like their old married couple kind of thing, where he'll screw up and she'll yell at him a couple of times, but then they're really good friends deep down. Then she sees him being mean, realizes that maybe he hasn't really changed that much, and then Diesel deep down feels really bad, and that's why immediately after Bert suggests starting with scrapping her, he's like, no, leave her out of this.
Yeah.
So
I always thought that was a really cool dynamic between those two characters. So it was really cool to see that in the movie. I always like it when Diesel gets redeemed in any sort of way.
Yeah, and in the script, it was kind of just like, all right, let's call back to this episode. It takes place in Vicarstown, and then we kind of develop that into, wait, Rosie and Diesel had this whole episode. Rosie's already there. Diesel comes in now. How can we, like, extend it? And then we just kind of wrote the whole thing where I don't think the intention was, like, while we were writing it, obviously, Diesel wasn't like, you leave her out of this. But it just kind of ended up that way because it felt so natural. And then now looking back, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm glad I did that because that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I definitely think while recording it, that wasn't my intention. It just came off that way.
Yeah.
Or sorry, while writing it, not recording it.
Yeah.
I didn't voice Rosie
or Diesel. Silly.
or Diesel.
Yeah, there's.
that.
I was just gonna say there's a couple of different, like, I wouldn't say full character arcs or something being completed, but there are moments that when you think about other episodes are like, huh, you've come full circle. Like, in Little Western Rescue, Thomas didn't give a damn about Oliver being gone, and now he's literally helping him escape.
Like, it's not like character arcs being completed, and it's also not just, oh, this reference Little Western Rescue. It's actually like taking the key point of that character. Thomas wasn't really a focal point in Little Western Rescue at all, and he's now the main character of this movie, but Oliver's involved in both plots, so we kind of see it pivot between main characters, but they're both interacting, and now Thomas has come to the point where he's like, originally didn't really like him, now he's helping him survive.
It's an ensemble piece. It's like, yeah, Thomas is the main character, but there's so many other plots and things going around in the film that I almost didn't see Tom. I mean, he is the focal point, but I didn't almost see him as like the main character.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a character.
I feel like the way the story is so like well put together is the way like how the movie kind of almost starts with like 3 or 4 different plots. How they all just kind of one by one interlock until the very end. They all come together, and we see all the characters together at the sheds, and we're like, "Oh my god, that's everybody!" Thomas and Percy from the beginning, the engines who didn't trust Thomas anymore, the engines who still believed in Thomas, the new friends who heard about the story, Osborne's crew, and they're all kind of there, and they're just having that big confrontation. It wasn't anything like a big crazy war or anything, but you just, it doesn't have to be too extreme to get the point across.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
It was just nice to see it all flow so well.
Yeah.
Well, that speaks to the writing. You guys did a phenomenal job. Like, I don't think there's any loose ends like that weren't purposely there.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to know what happens to the villain, of course, but I mean, the whole movie is tight. Like, truly, like, it's really well written, and
thank you.
That's a testament to you guys.
Personally speaking, I don't think there are any plot holes because I tried to wrap up as many as not wrap up like the end of the character story or whatever, but I tried to make sure everything was explained because I feel like in a Thomas story, it's just a story. Not every single little detail has to be explained, but for like a big like kind of mystery thriller action kind of whatever plot this whole genre story this was, I feel like you had to go into detail. Like, this was the running number. This is why it was on this train. He ordered this and that, and these are why these characters coming together. But at the same time, I tried to make sure nothing was, like, too big of a mystery. The ending of what happened with Osborne, who knows? We don't know what we're going to do with him. He could go somewhere else. He could come back to Sodor. It's almost like it's the kind of thing where other than Osborne and Diesel 10, everything else is kind of wrapped up. We saw the ending of how the Steelworks engines came to Sodor to help them rebuild Vicarstown, and it had a nice happy ending.
Yeah. I mean, there is one huge question left that didn't get answered.
What would that be, Nathan?
What was Logan gonna say?
He was gonna say, "My name's Jeff."
Gonna say poggers.
I just want to point out, a couple of weeks ago when I put that poll on Twitter, as like, should Logan speak? That's why I did that. because it was like, how many people would actually be surprised and excited to hear him about to speak and then get cut off?
Well, actually, didn't we have a plan for one of the episodes, one of the after credits scene? I don't know if it actually was it Thomas and Oliver? One of the episodes, like, Logan was in the shed with somebody.
Yeah,
and it was like the creepy workshops model. And then they were like, "Oh, you don't really say anything, do you?" And he just stares at him.
Yeah, he just is like, he's ranting, and then you look over and Logan's sitting there, and he's like, you don't really talk much, do you? So.
But I think
That's all the questions.
I think
we talk about what we're working on.
Yeah, most of the questions are repeating now. So
yeah. So we'll go in that order that we just were in. So we'll one second though, because I just remembered that we had a donation a minute ago from good old Farquhar Engine asking if we could do a Hey Dudes, Mr. Dad. Could you give us a Hey Dudes real quick?
In the room.
Well,
just
Hey Dude. Oh, hey, dude! There we go.
That's why I love the fact that our family members can get involved with our Thomas content.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. During the movie, we were all watching together, but my dad had it on in the bedroom. And it was funny because the stream for him was about 10 seconds behind what we were watching. So every now and then, if something really loud happened, like
me,
I could hear Chase in the bedroom 10 seconds after I heard him out here.
Yeah, especially whenever Chase spoke, you could hear it.
Yeah. So
Nathan, start with yourself.
Well, I figured I'd do last and then close it out after.
So we can go left to right on the
wall. So Christian, if you
we'll start with Christian.
To begin.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep doing music. I'm currently working on. I guess I'll announce it here, but I'm gonna be releasing an album of my Thomas songs next year. Everything's gonna get remastered. We're gonna put it out on Spotify, and we're gonna also tack on 4 album exclusive tracks. So you have to go listen to it. And then what's cool about that is that they'll actually be physical copies, so you can actually order a CD or a vinyl. And that's what's cool. And then we're working on Anderson Harbor, the series. We're still doing that. And currently, COVID kind of pushed it, but we're going to shoot a pilot for it, and then we're actually going to try and take it and shop it to other YouTube channels to see if there's a space for it, because I've been told that it's actually a good idea for a TV show. So we're going to actually try and see if we can get it somewhere, because a lot of people seem to really like those characters. So we're going to see what happens. The new year is going to be very busy. So
excellent.
That's what's
Sounds
up.
Good.
Very nice.
How about you, Chase?
Yeah, I'm working on a bunch of stuff right now. Shout out Griffin, aka the Blue Snowplow. We're working on a trilogy of stories about one of the most obscure characters in the entire Thomas mythos right now.
It's Thumper, isn't it?
Oh, it's Dustin, actually. So be on the lookout for that. I'm still writing my set 3 of my original stories. We've had to take a bit of a hiatus from that because the current story I'm writing is rather hard to write. But hoping to get back to that. I have a Christmas special I started writing the other day that'll get released on my Twitter page. Other than that, just continuing to help out with Nathan and James's and Cam's stuff. And the coming year, I'm getting a MIDI keyboard, so you will hear more original songs from me.
Oh yeah!
Yes!
Ooh, yes!
Wait a minute, there can only be one!
Dun dun!
I live for these two and their songs.
Oh
Fucking amazing.
Oh man, maybe we should start a band, Chase. Shit. Start a collaborative music project.
The brand new CNC Productions 2 Chasing.
Oh, and talking of Journey Beyond Sodor, I have a rewrite of that coming up.
Yes.
I showed all y'all the logo for the other day. Gonna be quite good. Very excited for that. Other than that, just really working on things.
Really quickly, Cameron.
Hi.
Spirit is here.
Is that my little friend Spirit?
The kitty who played Spirit is my cat Mittens, and she's right here.
Baby.
So
Did she say
just
hello to
there.
us?
She just did.
Oh.
Can you say meow?
Hey,
meow.
Nathan.
Hang on. She's not gonna say anything. Okay, yes.
Lightning McQueen. Wow, the real Lightning McQueen asked, "Was that a custom made right? You guys, you made the experimental engines yard."
Matt helped me with the. Matt and I did the experimental engine yard and Beresford's Canal. So, and then I did the hideout area, and then everything else was either Cameron or Matt's routes.
Yeah.
Except Harwick. Harwick was SI3D, I think.
I think that was Nick's edits on the SI3D.
Yeah.
James, what do you have planned?
Yeah, James, what are you doing?
After the stream, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Filling plans.
I think we all are.
I just finished filming episode 19, I think. Oh my god, of Sudrian Stories. It's called "No Help at All." It is Cameron's writing debut. We co-wrote it the other day.
Sorry.
So yeah, Cameron's finally got one of his dreams accomplished of writing for my series. So we're gonna work on that. It's about Stanley and Charlie. I figured Stanley and Charlie can bounce off of each other. Charlie's pranking and being a little bit of a jokester. Stanley wants to be a little more serious and get the work done. What happens when Charlie takes the joke too far and Stanley gets mad and hijinks ensue. After Snow Help at All, that's going to come out probably around Christmas. Marion Marks the Spot will be my first episode of 2021, and that'll be episode 20, the last episode of season 2 of Sudrian Stories. That one was written by Chase here, and I got the script for that in March. I've been pushing it back so much because college, work, so many things got in the way of that. But
College work, needing Carly and Big Mickey models.
Yeah, it's it'll come out eventually. I'm working on that soon. So yeah, I'm excited to get to work on both of those. I filmed Snow Help at All in one sitting because I have nothing else to do right now. I have a lot of stuff planned for next year and onwards. I'm gonna have to run some ideas by Cameron, Nathan, and Chase for story ideas and potential other things to bring to the channel. So look forward to that. Cameron and I have some good old goodies coming to Marvelous Mainland Model Works pretty soon during our Christmas season.
Oh yes.
I think that's about it. I like Pokemon cards.
I bet you.
Cam?
Cool. Cameron.
All right, so Cameron's not here. Nathan.
No!
Yeah.
I'm here. I've been waiting.
No, Cameron's not doing anything.
Since it's my turn, I do really want to quickly jump in. Christian will get a kick out of this. Basically, right? I have a speaker right next to my bed, and it's voice activated.
Oh
so
no!
There have been several times where I've been in a call late at night, and I will just gradually fall asleep. I'm slumbering. I'm relaxing. It's all nice and good. And then, just in the back of my head, I just hear, "Hey Google, you better not. Don't you dare respond." She's doing it right now. They'll say, "Oh, hey Google, play the Tales of Thomas and His Friends." She's talking to me. So
I want to really quickly. I just want to point out, right as you said that, Spotify opened on Discord for you.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, no. Basically, I'll be dead asleep, and they'll say, "Oh, play Tales of Thomas and His Friends." But I'll be asleep, and then suddenly I just heard, "Let's watch the magic come to life," and I wake up.
I did that to him. I did that to him a couple of days ago. We were just sitting there. I just was like, "Hey Google, play the Tales of Thomas and Friends," and it started playing, but I couldn't hear it very well, so I just went, "Hey Google, up by 2." Then the magic come to life. We just hear, what the fuck?
So that's why there's been a freaking listening spike in the last couple of days.
That's just me on repeat.
It went from like 100 to like 600 in the span of like a week. I was just like, excuse me.
That's just purely me. It's in my playlist. It goes on repeat.
Just activating it.
Yeah, because Cameron is obviously in a different time zone than most of his American friends, so he'll be waiting all day for us to wake up, and then by the time we wake up at like, I don't know, like 11 or 12, it's already 5 for him. He's just finished dinner, and then well, I don't know, it'll be like midnight or something, and we're still wide awake on sugar from soda and whatnot. It'll be like 5 a.m. He's like, I'm finally gonna go to bed, guys. Or I'm gonna jump on my phone. So he'll get on his phone and be like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna stay in the call. I'm gonna be up for a couple more.
that will happen, yeah. But no, for me, I've got a very full plate. Like everyone
tell me
else,
about it.
I've got a Christmas special, A Tree for Ryan, which was supposed to come out last year, but due to complications, I wasn't able to do it. It's a very nice story by Nathan. Involves Ryan trying to find a Christmas tree since the ship delivering trees and decorations was delayed. So Ryan sets out to find a tree for Harwick or Knapford or whatever it was.
It was Knapford.
And hijinks ensue. Everyone has a laugh. Hoo-ha, the world goes round. After that, I have... Oh, what was it? I think I've got 3 more episodes lined up for Season 1. It's, the next episode is Terrence and Trevor, written by the very lovely Chase. Very excited.
Ooh, I am lovely.
Got some nice models coming up for that. After that, it's the rewrite of Picture Perfect Percy, which was the original episode 2. So that's probably...
Third time's the charm?
Yeah. That's been in the making for the past 2 or 3 years now, I can't remember. And then ending the season with Chase's amazing title, A Fuel's Errand, involving Bill, Ben, and Timothy.
Hey Cameron, what else are you working on?
I'm also working on The Adventure Goes On, which is about 80%
Really?
done. It requires a couple more models. I need to film some more stuff. I need to get Chase and James to do a lovely little duet.
Ooh.
But more on that later.
More on that later. I don't want to spoil too much. I've got a lot of models lined up. If you saw in Nathan's video, that's pretty much everything I have currently going. Recently made...
It's like almost like a sneak peek of season 4 because when watching the movie, you're like, wait, why do these models just change? Why are all of them like pretty faces? It's supposed to be like a hint towards this is what you're going to see in season 4.
So I recently made a Rocky. I did a Marion with an animated shovel, which is for Nathan's Christmas episode as well as James's Marion episode. I've got a lot of stuff in the works. I've got I'm not going to spoil any because it's probably one of my biggest projects to date. Got a nice adaptation of one of Chase's stories coming up.
Oh yes.
Nothing has been started.
I heard
yet.
about that.
The planning. You'll probably see that sometime at the end of next year. And I've got my second channel where I'll be doing Blender tutorials, trains tutorials, reviews, fun little Thomas videos. Like my most recent one was an adaptation of an idea James had about the lost 8 episodes of season 21. And
go subscribe to Karma Backyard, people.
Karma Barnyard, let's go. And
let's go.
And yeah, I have a full plate because I do a mix of my stuff and a mix of helping out my good friends. So,
hey Cameron, you should do like a breakdown of all the Easter eggs and stuff. And
I plan to.
Sodor.
And hopefully
you gotta do a Watch Mojo style.
Yeah. And hopefully, currently being planned, seeing what models I have and what I don't have. Hopefully, if they're cool with it, I can do some more music videos of Chase's and Christian stuff. So,
absolutely.
More on that later.
Let's go.
Let it be known, and this is the official public declaration. You are allowed to make any video to any one of my songs, no questions asked.
Let's go.
Like you could just do it. So you have my full public permission, as do most people. Like, because I notice a lot of people will make videos and stuff. So if you got a fan idea and you want a project, go do it.
Nice.
So Mainland, because your videos make me cry. They're so good.
And your music makes me cry. We're stuck in this.
We're equally making each other cry.
We're stuck in this limbo of crying, man.
Equal tears.
And the golden question of the hour, Nathan, what do you have planned?
Nothing. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. That's all, folks.
I have probably way too much planned. I have my Christmas special that is now the main priority now the movie's done. Hoping that I can get it all out in time. It's called Up to Snow Good. We're doing a lot of snow related puns this year. It's about Bill and Ben crashing into Timothy at the clay pit, and so Timothy is gonna miss out on the Christmas party. and Bill and Ben are kind of upset about what they've done, and they've realized how their tricks affect others and such. And it's, as I believe Cameron said, it was a heartwarming story.
It is
So
heartwarming. I love it. It's very.
It's very firebox warming.
Yeah. It makes your firebox go on fire.
It melts the chocolate firebox.
And then after that, depending on how Cameron's schedule is with models and whatnot, either season 4 in January, hopefully, or I'm going to do remasters of episodes 2 and 3, like I did the Lorries, hopefully.
Yeah.
But then eventually season 4. And I have an idea for my next special movie, whatever. To be honest, it's nothing connected to anything. It's literally just going to be like a regular Thomas special. So don't expect Osborne to show up. Yeah.
It is.
So
Sequel.
So yeah, other than that, just probably random shorts if I think of funny ideas. I might end up making a short that makes fun of the new series eventually, but I don't know.
A short or an episode?
Yes. Long
Nathan, shorts aren't supposed to be 20 minutes.
Shut up! They were never 20 minutes.
Wait, which one is it? Is
Yeah,
it like the Frankie
actually,
short, like 17 minutes?
It was 11. And actually, this is where I announce it. Defenders of Sodor was never a movie. It was just short 26. So.
And on that note, I'm out.
Yeah. So.
I gotta go, gents. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks for coming, Christian.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me be a part of this movie. This was honestly an awesome experience and an awesome way to cap 2020.
Yeah.
Nathan, how does it feel to be a feature animated filmmaker?
Tiring.
Yeah, that's about right.
Take a nap.
Sounds about right.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Good night, gentlemen.
Bye, Christian.
See you later.
See you later.
So
I also have to depart, unfortunately, because I've been quite hungry for like an hour.
Yeah, I feel bad because halfway through this I started eating dinner. So
that's fine. Thank you all for having me on this process. This was been so much fun, and I look forward to all the further work we'll do together.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
Bye.
Bye, Chase.
Bye, Chase.
Hey.
And now we come back to the Holy Trinity, as James called it once.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't think we really have much else to say. So, I just want to thank everyone.
I mean, sorry, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Jesus, it's longer than the movie.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
So, first I'd like to say thank you to everyone who either helped with the movie, voice acted, I mean, hell, even made models or routes for it. And then just thank everybody for tuning in. I think that is the largest response I have gotten for any premiere at all, or just in general. Just it made it all worth it. So
I think we reached like nearly 1,300 people.
At one point, I believe so. So
yeah.
So I think that's it from us. Really quickly, since I am still technically part of the site, be sure to check out the Railway Works later tonight. They're currently doing a direct to show you guys what they have in store. I may not be as active as I used to be, but I still have some stuff that are probably going to come out, including some routes that you saw in the movie. So check out the Railway Works and check out Marvelous Mainland Booty Works. Whatever. What is it called again? I can't keep all the M's straight.
Model Works.
That's it. Thank you.
What if I told you I stopped streaming 5 minutes ago, so whatever you just said made no sense?
Did you really?
No. We're still going. Anyway, good
Silly.
night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us.
Watch Cedrian Stories. Watch Cedrian Stories.
Watch Tales of Thomas and His Friends.
Watch Thomas the Train's Adventures.
Subscribe to EpicLafiteau. EpicLafiteau. Wait, fuck. LAFITEAU. Huh.
Thank you
Can't
for
even
watching.
spell